far too long.
Oh, it's Renee and Ifri! It has been quite the spell.
What delicacies are you desiring to make?
Yes, I was finally able to make that legendary eternal vintage, which led me to ponder. Mayhaps the Phosha and the Scorched Orb might also exist. Somewhere flames dance.
Phosha? That seems like a unique ingredient. Is it what you seek?
I'm uncertain, but I'd like to attempt it. I've heard horrifying monsters reside where the flames dance. But I believe the rarest ingredients of legend most likely hide themselves in places the faint of heart shall never reach.
Okay, Ifri will help you. I'm looking forward to this dish.
Have you found the ingredients? Or do you want to try my other dishes?
Ifri is certain that these two are the ingredients you seek. Would you like to try them out?
As long as you can make them into delicious dishes, Ifri can find you any ingredient you need.
Aye, thank you, Ifri. Now, observe. I couldn't be more satisfied. You found everything, including the legendary ingredients. I shall return to Resting Town to regale Alice with my simply marvelous experiences.
Thank you for your treat. Safe travels.
this glyph is almost as strong as mine in my prime. No, it's even stronger.
The Ifri is the strongest there is, yet now you question your own power?
I know it is true.
Where do you want to go?
Excuse me, I wish to see what is on offer. Excuse me, I wish to...
Now my task is done as well. Yes, this key is also for you. It is something quite nice. Yeah, I can tell from the looks of it that the gold key is valuable. Don't interrupt me. Sit properly and listen. That was something God bestowed upon me. Carry it with you on your trip through Garden. It might be of assistance. Now go. I have my own tasks that require my attention. Now my duty is fulfilled as well.
Hello again, rescuer.
Let me see.
I haven't returned to the town in ages, and yet it still feels like home. Reminds me of bygone days when my master taught me how to cook. Ah, it's little Ifri! It's been quite a while. How about a hot meal for the daring adventurers?
Of course!
has his own body become one with the well?
You fused with the well by the power of Goliaths and intervened in the creation of the Scions? I see. So that's how you've created these bodies forged with others' lives. You two are truly maddened at the bottom of the well.
Human, now that you have killed my brother, your words are worth naught. You have. No wonder Agus was defeated.
Stop it, Aquil. Look what you're doing. Abandoning the dignity of the Goliath of Pyro? Turning these scions, even yourself, into such mangled shapes, all for the sake of power. The way you cling to power, how is it different from the humans of the past?
We are too weak after all. The power of one Goliath is insufficient to be divided into two souls. We lack not only power, but also the heart. To wipe out the humans and restore peace to Engarden, we must become stronger. I have no other choice.
Our duty is to keep order in Engarden, to mete out justice to those who violate it. We can't just decide to destroy them for a future that has not come to pass. Your
duty, responsibility. Enough of this. Ever since our race was born, we've been bound to preserving order as the meaning of our existence, for which we are willing to devote our lives. Only when humans disappear, only when those who harm Engarden all vanish, can we fully maintain order in this place, and put an end to the meaningless losses we have suffered through as well. And this is our duty.
The way you're acting, reckless and unconscionable, makes you no better than the humans you despise. This is not what God wants.
Well, what makes you think that you know what Luca wants? Is your heart telling you this? Or is it just because you are stronger than me when it comes to the heart?
We all err. If you believe massacre is the answer to all problems, eventually every potential cause of trouble will be destroyed, and Engarden will become a land of desolation.
Is that the reason you've joined the humans against us? Though you've said all about these matters, I can no longer. Argus, if we could possess the heart in the first place, would things be different?
The voices of the Goliaths have vanished. It's all over.
Ifri.
Nay, you must have a lot of questions for me. Let's start with who I am. I am Ignis, the Goliath of Pyro.
Ignis? But didn't Ignis die in the grand battle? We've even seen his giant prism bone.
That's merely the body I once possessed. I was ambushed by humans while rescuing the scions of Anemo from a human siege. I had already expended too much of my power, creating the burning colossus to guard the entrance to our field, and tearing the land asunder to hold back the humans.
I'm sorry.
Humans poked and prodded my soul in the holy ground subterranean laboratory until the razing destroyed that place. My soul escaped and met Eros, while you were wounded and made unconscious by the calamity. Well, now you know the rest of the story. I used the last of my power to link my soul with yours, borrowing your power to create Talos to protect us from the aftershock. We both survived, and our souls were linked together in a new form, with my God-granted heart now sealed in the depths of my soul.
So that's why afterwards I had slept for days before waking. And some of my memories faded because of the shock. I wonder, can all the Goliaths use God's primeval spell? I've never seen you use it before.
After my heart was sealed, I lost the ability to cast primeval spells on my own, except when aided by primeval glyphs.
Along the way, you've been keen to collect various glyphs. Do you want to use any spell with them?
I plan to gather enough primeval glyphs during my journey to undo the link of our souls and restore my power as the Goliath of Pyro. I have them all together now, but... Quake? Curses!
It seems to have come from deep under the ground.
It's the Molten Sanctum, where all Goliaths are born. This rumble means a new egg has come into being.
Egg?
The egg of Goliath. Another Goliath of Pyro is about to be born. We need to get to the Molten Sanctum.
This is an egg of the Goliaths?
There are 2 souls in the egg. Could it be Agus and Aquil? They will no doubt be stronger once their souls are merged. But the egg appears to need some time to hatch.
It's hard enough to deal with them individually. If they haven't changed their minds after being reborn.
Renee, it's time. We've already found the primeval glyphs we need to undo the soul link. Once I'm restored to my position as the Goliath of Pyro, I will undoubtedly be able to keep them in line.
The egg, it's actually beating like a heart.
Renee, have you made up your mind?
Begin, Ifri.
Thank you, Renee. After my powers are restored, I'll teach these arrogant fools a lesson they won't soon forget. Renee, I never imagined that this day would truly arrive. I lost all my power at the very beginning, and was forced to link my... You don't often laugh.
Thank you, If. I'll continue down this path alone from now on. Don't worry.
Of course. And if you find...
Maybe there's another path.
Renee, what are you planning?
I'm sorry, Ifri. So, this is the soul field of the Goliath of Pyro. So vigorous and powerful.
Renee, please leave this place. I can restore my position as a Goliath, and I'll ensure that innocent humans are protected.
But as a human myself, I have no choice.
Even if you destroy their souls completely, The next Goliath of Pyro could be even more radical and powerful. Then the war would never end. We can negotiate with them. I'll convince them that not all humans are greedy villains enslaved to desire. Please, Renee, stop this. Renee, stop! There is a better way. You must trust me.
Sorry, Ifri. I can trust you, but I can't trust them.
Why must you act in this way?
I can't bear the price of making the wrong choice. Adam, and everyone in the town. I must protect them all this time.
Thanks, Renee. Thank you for trusting me.
I hope I have made the right choice. Let's undo our soul link and restore your position as a Goliath, then.
Wait. Just now in their soul field, I realized something. Breaking the soul link may not be the way. I don't think I should take back my position as a Goliath.
But isn't it what you've always...
Having entered the soul field of the egg just now, I realized why Agus and Aquil were born in the first place. Our link formed in the ruins of the Holy Grounds did protect us, but it also transformed our souls into a novel form. This prevented the Multum Sanctum from sensing my unique soul as the Goliath of Pyro. It must have believed my soul had completely vanished.
Is that why they said they had no heart?
The heart is the source of the Goliath's power and authority, but it is also engraved with the duties given by God. The meaning of our existence is to do God's work in the first place. Only with the heart can we fully understand what Luca's end garden should be and how to properly guard it. Due to the accident that befell me, the two newborn Goliaths were deprived of their heart, which caused them to lack guidance and restraint from God. Maybe the same accident caused the two Goliaths of Pyro to be born instead of one.
But you have the heart, Ifri. Can't you just guide them in fulfilling their duty after restoring your position? Why shouldn't you take it back?
God built the Sanctum to create new Goliaths when the need arose, but there should only be one Goliath of Pyro at a time. Once I restore my position, the Sanctum will sense the rumbling of my soul yet again. Then, the existence of any egg will no longer be necessary. It will cease to hatch, and Agus and Aquil will vanish, once and for all.
Are you thinking of giving your heart to them? Is it really possible?
The primeval glyphs we found can undo the link. they should also be able to isolate my heart and transfer it into the egg. When they are born again, they will be one new and complete Goliath of Pyro.
But without your heart, wouldn't you be in peril?
I should be fine. After all, I've been Ifri for so long. I will keep everyone alive. And as I've told you, you have to trust me. Don't worry. It'll be fine. It's our only option, so let's make haste.
If you say so.
Now, it is done.
Ifri!
The war between the humans and Goliaths of Pyro can finally draw to an end. Thank you, Renee.
Wait, what's happening? No! You said I can trust you! How could you? Ifri! Wake up, Ifri!
Who is the one crying yet again?
Ifri! You...
Surprise! Ifri is back!
But you've just...
Has it faded how we survived the raising Ree? Well, there was something floating away from me. But never you mind. I'm perfectly safe and sound. Huzzah! Whew. Can't believe I actually made it. Incredible indeed. Ifri always knows best. Why are you drawing your sword, Ree? Calm down, yeah? Free! Ouch! Stop! It's all my fault! I said I'm sorry! Ow! No way! You're serious? No!